So we will pick up and continue a little bit of where we were last night, but Cheryl had asked some questions. So what I'm going to do is I want to put are you familiar, Cheryl, with the concept called the Adam Kidmon? Are you familiar with that term, Adam?
I've heard you say it
Kidmon.
all the time.
Adam Kidmon, the phrase actually means the God man in the sky. So in all astrology, if you take that chart, that calendar, did y'all see the calendar?
Right.
And farmers, yeah, this calendar right here. You can get this calendar right here, and this calendar, my grandfather got this exact same calendar, and he didn't plant anything. He wouldn't even dig a post hole without consulting this calendar. I just remember that. I mean, I remember those things that he would consult his calendar, and all he would do with his calendar is he wanted to see if the moon, always remember the moon, because it's magnetic and feminine, it's the moon that's bringing forth, birthing. He wanted to know where and what the moon was doing. So, and he's in the daytime, so he can't see the moon, so he would consult this calendar, and this calendar would always tell him whether the moon was in the neck, or in the breast, or in the bowels. Do y'all ever remember that yourself? Y'all remember that? Or in the knees, or in the feet? Well, so where do they get? All of those are parts of the physical body, right? So where they get that is from the ancient Adam Kidmon. And the Adam Kidmon, let me just go ahead and stick it up here. We'll, just as a point of reference, we'll look at it. I'll put the cardinal cross because it has to be laying over the cardinal cross. And the reason it's called the cardinal cross is because it has a solstice, which represents the phallic, the straight up erection. It represents the soul test. Soul is sun, test is steel. Soul test. So the solstice represents where the sun reaches its high point and low point. And the equinox is where we get our word equal. The reason it's called the equinox is because on March the 21st, the day light hours and the nighttime hours equal the same. Every year, no matter what, every year. 12 hours daylight, 12 hours night. And where we get Libra, the scales, we call them the scales of justice, but really it's the pelvic. And the reason, and once if you ever can remove yourself from the idea of the scales of justice and God's found you wanting and you're guilty. And so where they hang that guilty is on the scales of justice, rather than to look at it, God has found you wobbling. And so what do you need if you wobble? Balance. Because a lot of the things that we say is, he was caught in iniquity. And if you really look up the root of the word iniquity, in most of the cases, especially in Hebrew, it's just where you sidestepped on the trail. How many have ever done that? If you've ever gone walking in the woods, I promise you'll sidestep on the trail because you'll see something over here very interesting. And here you went and created iniquity. You took a sidestep. Well, what do you do in the result of that? You go right back on the trail. It's a very common thing, but religion took it as a thing to beat us up with. And so we have been beat up so bad that we don't understand certain words, and if we did, then it wouldn't be as hard for us to grab what God's saying. So that's the womb. So you have the phallic and you have the womb, and those two are the creative things. That's why I always come to the point here: the belly, the womb. This is the place where they come together and create. So that's the works of the sun, the solstice, and the moon, the feminine. So you have those two energies. You can call that God and man, or you can call it God and matter. It doesn't matter. This symbol, the cross is the most ancient symbol of all of the symbols that bar none wherever you go on the face of the earth. It's not unique to Christianity. Christianity tried to make it unique and think that God only hung one son on the cross.
Yeah.
The cross was always symbolic of every son, woman, is hung on the cross. So no matter who you are, you're hung on the cross. And so it's called cardinal because it has these 4 major points. Every year, you come to the equal place in the spring, you come to the equal place in the fall. Every year, you come to the longest day, at high point, and then it begins to fall. That's the sun's descent into hell. And many times that's where they said the darkness has won the battle. Only for a day, and there's no winning or losing here. It's the descendant. This is where the sun, in astrology, you'll find that you'll have moon positions, planet positions in your descending signs, right? You'll have it on here in your ascending signs, because that's the longest day, just like December the 25th is the shortest day. So a lot of the ancient mythologies are built on these 4 points. The shortest day, many times they call it the birth of Jesus. And then there are those literalists who try to take when John was conceived. You remember that? 6 months later, Mary goes, and remember that? And the babe in, who was it, Martha? Elizabeth, right, Elizabeth, John's mother. The babe jumped in her womb. 6 months, so they try to project that from that point in time, which all of this is astrological, by the way, but they try to project that time from there, 40 weeks to the birth of Jesus. And they'll always get it at the Feast of Tabernacles. That's generally, that's where, just like if you follow dates notes, that's where the date's going to say. Jesus was actually born at the Feast of Tabernacles, sometime in September, October. But in all the astrological mythologies, the sun is always born on December the 25th. That's why that is a national holiday called the birth of Jesus. And that's because it's the shortest day of the year, and it's also the only time in the whole year, 365 days, it's the only time that for 3.5 days the sun cannot be seen, period, on the northern hemisphere. So on the northern hemisphere, you can't even see the sun, so there's not a day and night. So the mythology says the sun died and went to hell for 3.5 days. And in that mythology, they understood that the sun would be reborn on the 25th. I mean, you see that? It's not. So you have the 21st, the shortest day. You have the 21st, 3.5 days later, at the resurrection of the sun. I mean, anybody that would commonly think about it and read the 4 Gospels, you can see that story of Jesus is laying over this story. It's just there. In so many ways, it's phenomenal. So when you see this wheel, you have what is called the Adam Kidmon. And the Adam Kidmon is like this. And this is my depiction of a baby in the womb of its mom. Okay? That's its pelvic, and from that, and you all have heard the story. It says, he bruised my head, Genesis chapter 3, but I will bruise his heel. And that's referring to these 2 signs right here, Pisces and Aquarius. So now then you lay the signs over this, and this is where you get that chart in that calendar, is you lay these signs on top of this, and in every place you'll have the different aspects of this sign. And what I mean by that, that's your 12-spoke wheel, that's the Elohim. So Aries is the head, the ram. So this energy of Aries, the ram, the head, every day as the sun and the moon move through these different planetary spheres, they create this energy, and in the womb of your mom, right here, we're just going to put this womb. You want to see that as a whatever. And in this womb of your mom, this heart, this energy is being projected, and that energy has the intelligence and the know-how and the biology and the ology, all the other ologies to build that in the womb of your mom. So it starts working on the head in those energies of time. Then it works on the neck and the shoulders. That's called Taurus, because Taurus deals with stiff neck. You remember God called Israel stiff neck? Because they were referring to the sign of Taurus. Every one of us. Our carnal, egoic self is the lower brain. That's the cerebellum, the bull, the Taurus, cerebellum. This is the cerebrum. So that's the top brain. This is the lower brain. And so this energy is working on the neck and the shoulders as it builds. Then you come to Gemini. It begins to build the arms, the twins, the two hands. Then it comes over to Cancer. It begins to work on the breast, the lungs, the internal organs. Then it comes around to Leo, the lion-hearted, the heart. You know, I was preaching here a few months back, Beverly, it hit her that the heart was not the first thing that begins to form in the womb. It's not. The heart forms much later. Actually, they don't even realize it's there until the 22nd day. And at the 22nd day, through the technology they have today, they can finally detect, hey, there's a heart inside there. But to start with, they know there's a brain. The tree of knowledge is the first thing you begin to see. If you look in Genesis chapter 2, the first thing that comes on the scene is the tree of knowledge, that which you know. And then you begin to see the tree of life as it branches out and it begins to describe the heart as the four rivers. And it's very clear biological depiction of the anatomy of the physical body. It's the Adam Kid Mon being built. So Genesis chapter 1 through Genesis 2:4, the 7 yoms, we call them 7 days. The 7 yoms are the 7 major facets that build this torso. This is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Anything from here to here. Those are the major parts of the physical body as far as the torso. You follow that?
Yes.
And so that's the 7 days. These are the 5 dealing with the central apparatus. The central apparatus gives you mobility, flexibility, stability, balance. Judgment is in balance. It's not in what you do wrong or right. Doing wrong or right is religion. What you learn to do is balance. You learn balance. If we ever, I have a personal vendetta to try to rewrite the scales of justice. If it becomes the scales of balance, you realize this is your pelvic. In any astrological wheel or any biological chart, if I took this character and I stood him straight up, just exactly like that. I can take all 7 of these and put all 7 of them right there. You can do exactly the same thing with the 7 golden candlestick. The 7 golden candlestick actually looks like this, and I'm sure all of you have seen me teach on this several different times. That's the 7 golden candlestick. Get them right so that they, and here they are. That is the worm or the baby in the womb. The same as this right here. These are the 7 seals. The book of the 7 seals, the book of Revelation is called the book of Revelation, should have been called the book of the 7 seals because it's about unsealing, opening up you.
Yes.
The book of Revelation is about you opening yourself up to the reality of who you are and what's at the throne up here, surrounded by the 24 elders. The 24 elders are called the 12-paired cranial nerve. You can get any biological chart and it'll show you the 12-paired cranial nerves. There's 12 on this side of the right brain, 12 on this side of the left brain that come into one brain stem. Can y'all see that? I'm hoping you can see that. So the menorah, the 7 golden candlestick, the Adam Kid Mon, And all, see, when you come around right here, it's building the lungs, the breast. You come around here, it's building the womb, the gut, the viscera. All of this right here, the viscera. And the viscera here is where most of your blood is stored. You have two systems in your body that are major systems that need to be working. And if they're not working, you get in a lot of trouble. That's your adrenal system and your immune system. And those are two systems that break down, and y'all may know this, just pay attention to this. These two systems break down as a result of stress. And today, we live in a world that's designed to keep you stressed out. You know what happens when you got too much stress? You wind up in dis-ease. You're uncomfortable. And in dis-ease, you wind up with a disease. Why? It all comes back to stress. Why? Because we live so stressed. I think they all know that. I think the powers that be know that. They want to keep us that way. They want to keep us stressed out financially, want to keep us stressed out about our health, want to keep us stressed out about the government, want to keep us stressed out. I mean, stress comes at you every which way. Best thing to do is turn the tube off. Because it's just a stress thing. It just stresses you out. Well, what does that do? It throws all of the blood out of your viscera in here into your extremities, and so you're always ready to fight or flight. You're always ready to run or defend. And you watch that when we're always ready, bless God, I ain't done that. You defend yourself. You got all your blood out here in your extremities. Well, it needs to be in here. You'll calm down. So this is the Adam Kid Mon. So you come around here to the womb and then to the pelvic. So these seven, this is the Adam Kid Mon. This builds you. Every one of us are the results of this energy and this work. So when we talk about your birth chart, when we start talking about how that you are the results of your birth chart, we'll get into that some here in just a few minutes. I'm just going to leave that, the Adam Kid Mon up there. We might refer back to him. So, anyhow, does that make sense? And
yes.
that answer her question? There you go. Okay. I want to read you something here as before we kind of get started. We jump in here, and the circle. This is in the great school called the Ancient Mysteries. And you know, I have a passion about the great schools, which became known later as the churches. The concept of the churches is not what the concept of the schools were. The concept of the churches needs to revert back to the concept of the schools. Places of learning, period. That's all it is, places of learning. And when you have all of the ancient temples, you go all around the world and you see these ancient temples. And I don't care if you go to Mayan, or I don't care if you go to Peru, or if you go to Egypt, or you go anywhere in China, or anywhere in India, and you find these ancient temples, which now we look at them and call them churches. Temples were places of assembling for initiation and training in the school of the mysteries. And the school of the mysteries was the place where you come to understand yourself. That's the only reason above the door they will write the inscription, know yourself. So when you come in, you have to realize, I need to open up to find this is knowledge about me. And we got way off that through this thing called the church age, and called it a church, and then it became a place of condemnation. Everybody went in there to cry and feel sorry for themselves and get the, woe is me, I'm so powerful, I've got to have something outside myself because I don't have enough power inside myself to do anything. It was a huge distraction and a tremendous lie. Jesus himself says, why do you go down there to that place or to that temple or to that looking for something that ain't there? The kingdom is inside you. Well, was that something brand new, or was that something that they always knew? It's something they always knew. The schools always taught the kingdom. In other words, the kingdom, the essence, the ability, the governmental power of God is in your being.
Yes.
It's not out there somewhere. And you see the church has got way off of that distracted idea and said, no, we got to get a Savior in here to help me out. And then they not much to do until I get there. Oh, yeah. But anyway, the school of the ancient mysteries, the circle, was used to teach the neophyte. A neophyte just simply means a beginner, a student. And I am a student. I was a beginner 40 years ago. And some things I'm still beginning. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm still beginning, but I'm a student. So I'm a student. I'm one who sits at the feet. I'm one who wants to draw the information. I want to draw from the source, the teacher. Call it anything you want. Holy Spirit, I don't care what name you want to put on it. Jesus, put it Jesus. I want to draw from the teacher because I'm hungry. I want to know. So, and that's what the schools and the mystery schools were about. And many times when you talk, they were teaching the mysteries. People look at the mystery and say, oh, it's unknown stuff, it's hidden stuff. No, the only reason it's unknown, the only reason it appears to be hidden is because you're looking in the wrong place for it. It's not out there, it's in here. If we could come back for that again, introspection to find in here is where I need to be looking. Yes. So these mysteries were taught continually. So the circle was used to teach the neophyte the continuity of space and the perpetuity of time. Coming back to what Andy was talking about, because we need to come to a grips of what time is. Time is really an illusion. It's something that we have placed ourselves under its control. We aren't to be under its control. We are to be over its control. Go right back to Genesis. Put everything under your foot, under the dominion of you. So we have this ability and this power in us to do these things. And then what happens is time can serve me instead of be my master. Well, that's good preaching, Lynn. Thank you, everybody. Sure is. So did you hear what I just said? I'll read that to you one more time. The great school, the ancient mysteries, the circle was used to teach the neophyte the continuity of space and the perpetuity of time. In other words, time perpetuates itself. It just constantly repeats itself. That's why we've lived this how many years in our life? Some of us a few more than others, but nevertheless, it does it every year, don't it? Mm-hmm. And the more you experience it, the more you get accustomed to it. So I realize it's here to serve me. The circle has no beginning, no ending, indicating the realm of the unmanifest, zodiacos. In other words, the zodiac. The circle encompasses all, yet it is the silence of equilibrium, the realm of inertia, the cosmic reservoir, the astral world, the realm of invisible elements that become, by transmutation, the visible world called nature. I just love the way he says that. In the Egyptian mysteries, the great school of which actual knowledge has descended to us, the dot, or sun, was personified as Ra, for the better instructions of the neophyte. And in that great Egyptian scripture titled the Book of the Dead, it was written, I am Ra, the sun. At his first appearance in the morning, I am the great sun god, self-produced. O Ra, in thine egg, who resistest up in thine orb, and shinest from thine throne on high, I come to do the will of my heart out of the abode of the flame. That's the Egyptian Book of the Dead. And actually that title, they call it the Egyptian Book of the Dead, was really, the title of it was the Going Forth by Day. That was the original title of that book. Then they kind of reversed the Egyptian Book of the Dead when it's, did you hear the opposite in there?
Yes, really.
So the real name of it is the Going Forth by Day. In other words, it was It was teaching to teach you how to go forth into your day, to teach you how to go forth to be what you are and what you are called and what you are designed to be. And so let me just quickly read this, and I wanted to jump into a couple of other things. The sun gods and characters, something we read last night, and I want you to hear, so profound. The sun god characters, none of whom can it be said positively that they were living personages. Now, in other words, there is no living proof for any sun god character to be a physical person. None, period, across the board. No living personage. It must be clearly noted, purely typical figures in the national epics of the several nations. They were symbols, one might say, but of what were they symbolical? And this is the best, to me, the best information that you could possibly gain if you can open your mind. If people can open their mind and get this bit of information. What were they symbolical? So any sun god character I'm talking about, you put a name on it, I don't care. You can put Jesus on it. You can put Buddha on it. You can put Krishna on it. It doesn't matter. You can put Ra, Horus, just anyone you would like to name. What was he about? Was he about this all-powerful, special one child that God had? No. Here's what it was about. It was the point of the most importance. They were representative characters summing and epitomizing in themselves the spiritual history of the human individual in his or her march across the field of evolving life on earth.
Yes, hallelujah.
If you can ever get that, it's not to belittle or take away from a literal Jesus. It's not to take away from any other sun god character. It's to actually build him up. If we could just get that and stop fussing and finding which is real and which is not, and this is of the devil and this is a deceiver. No, all of them were teaching different facets of this phenomenal energy, the power of God, the Elohim. Whew, Lord have mercy. They were types. They were the types and the models of the divine potentiality pictured as coming to realization in their careers. They were the mirror held up to mankind. Can you hear that? These characters always are pointing to you. Even when you follow the four Gospels, Jesus is always pointing to you and me. Jesus never come to build a church. Never did build a church. It's just not there. It's not right. Man did that. Man did that thing. Jesus always, the only church he was building is you. You were the church. Ecclesia. Ek means cross place. Kleo, klesia means the power or the ability for words. Gosh, can you get that? Boy, they got so far off with that one. Ecclesia. Ek. E-K or E-X. X. It just simply means a cross place. Well, these are the cross places right here where the energy's coming together and creating. And what is it creating? It's creating through vibration, through sound. And what is that called? Logos in the Greek. What is it translated as? Word. What is word? Word is the moving of breath across different frequencies.
What was, Klesia? What does that mean?
Klesia, that means the place of the emanation of words or energy. Klesia comes from the root Greek word kleo. The place, the root, the place where energy proceeds. It's out of your gut. Out of your viscera. They were the mirror held up to mankind in which could be seen the possibilities locked up in man's own nature. God. Ooh, doggy, that is so good. Hallelujah.
By the God of yourself.
They were type figures delineating the divine life that was an ever possible realization in any person devoted to himself. I tell you, I kind of like it, Brother Hayden. That puts run in my feet. Come on. Ooh, Lordy, hallelujah. The solar deities were the gods that ever came. They were described as coming not once upon a time, but constantly and regularly. Why? Because, well, I want to get into some things about that. Just so much here I want to kind of look at. But let me just, there were the Son of God, the Son's energy, the Ra, Jesus, anything would like to call it. That energy is constantly coming to me. That's why they say it's coming in the clouds. I mean, those are typological expressions. Right now, that sun's energy is not only coming in the clouds, it's coming through those clouds because it's cloudy. But the clouds ain't stopped it. Nothing doesn't stop it. It constantly comes. It's just like we say, well, I can't lay out there today in the sun and get any energy because it's cloudy. That's not true. You know, a lot of people lay out in the cloudy day and get blistered. Why? Because the sun doesn't stop it. You think, well, the clouds is slowing it down and weakening it. No, it's not. That's a mirage. That's an illusion. The power of that energy is still constantly emanating. In other words, it's vibration. Vibration is words. We think words are just what I'm saying with my mouth. Vibration is sounds. Different sounds it makes. I mean, you can go out there and listen to the sounds. I mean, it tells you, Psalms 19, the heavens declare. That word declare is kafar in Hebrew. It actually means to proclaim, to prophesy, to talk, to tell. It's constantly prophesying, talking, and it's constantly talking to us. It's constantly telling us. It's constantly putting its energy in us. It's doing it through the walls of this building, this house. Because that doesn't stop it. Nothing stops it.
I thought of a real good word, growing. We're constantly growing. Nothing stops, even when the roots are in the ground and everything. It looks like it's dead, but it's still growing. So that's another word I thought. Growing. We're just always growing. We never stop growing. We're giants. We're getting to be giants, beyond giants.
Yeah.
You know.
That's good, Beverly. Yeah. Yeah. You know, that's a good analogy. Matter of fact, I could take that and let me add this to it. I think the only thing, you can't ever stop it, but could you stun it by distraction? I bet you could. I bet we could stun it by distractions, and especially stress and other different things that gets us off the path.
The stunting, the pruning is good.
Pruning is good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so, gosh, where do we go from here? Get some of this out of the way. I hate to get back on it because I get that, want to preach on me. And
Hey, you want to preach on
it's so good it rich to me. I can't, sometimes I can't figure out, wow, they didn't get it. That's, Okay, let's deal with this little thing right here. I'll show you something. Maybe I'm hoping this might help a little bit. Because I do know, and I'll say this to all of you up front, that most of the stuff about astrology is somewhat new to me. Somewhat. I am versed in it, you know, in like putting the Elohim and understanding that these are energies, understanding the creative aspects, and understanding how that they're constantly growing me. As Beverly just said. I do understand that. But now then to put it in retrospect and to try to point it down, there's some big questions in the backs of my mind, and I'm trying to figure out so many things, simply because so much movement, so many different things involved in that movement. Because the Milky Way galaxy is big. And here was one thing that helped me out a little bit when I started to see this about the Milky Way galaxy. If you look at the Milky Way galaxy, it actually does look like that in a way. And of course, if you can see that, I don't know if you can even see that on the chart, but if you can see that, actually you can Google this if you'd like. Google the Milky Way galaxy as the serpent. And they'll show you several really good pictures of how the Milky Way galaxy does appear to be that way. So, and here's how I could do the Milky Way galaxy. So that you can kind of get an understanding of it is it's divided into these 12 segments. Okay, yeah. Okay. And of course, those are the 12 astrological places of the zodiac. So my question was for a long time, well, is the zodiac just in this arm of the Milky Way galaxy? That was always my question. Or I still have a lot of questions. Let me just say, I have hundreds and more questions than I have got anywhere near answers. I'm a constant seeker and asker. I worry God out. You know what I mean, worry God out? That means I just won't leave him alone. Yeah, but what? Yeah, but what about? Yeah, but what about this? Well, yeah, but I know he don't worry about that. Yeah, but that's my argumentative first words when I'm talking to God. Yeah, but. Because in my mind, I'm already thinking something different, and God's trying to show me something different, and I don't see something different. I'm seeing it the way I saw it, and I'm saying, yeah, but. Do y'all do that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So here it is. This is this, and this is this. Now, the earth, let me see if I can find this and read this to you and see if it makes sense to you. The 12 houses of astrology are arranged on a circle-shaped chart or a wheel. Don't confuse the wheel of house with the zodiac wheel. They're different wheels. Now, didn't that blow you a curve, huh?
Yeah.
What do you mean? They are and they're not. And this is a conundrum, so just watch this. Paradox. Ever truth is hid in paradoxes. That's why it's hard to see it many times, because it's a paradox. The zodiacal wheel is based on the sun's apparent yearly rotation. So if I say that this is April, and I go all the way around the wheel until this becomes March, I've gone around a year cycle. You follow that? Y'all follow that? Mm-hmm. And the sun's cycle. That's the sun's cycle. But now what about the earth? Because you see, the earth turns on a 24-hour. 12 hours a day, 12 hours a night. The earth is turning in this same zodiac on a daily basis. That's the wheel of your houses. That's what builds you. So even though they're the same, they're not the same. One of them is dealing with the sun and its rotation, and the other is dealing with the earth and its rotation. And then here's another one. This kind of throw you another curve. This big one right here, it deals with the earth's wobble in its rotation. Now that makes sense? See, as the sun is going around and around like this, it's also crooked and it's going like this. You understand that? You understand? And so it's crooked, and this wobble, this one right here takes 26,000 years to make this one rotation. But yet, every day, it's going like this. The earth is. And at the same time, while the earth is doing this, at the same time, the sun's going around the whole outside thing to give you a year.
It's a dance.
It's a beautiful dance. It is a beautiful dance. Does that make any sense now? This is, well, I would say these are some basic things that will kind of start to help us. Now, every one of us, the beauty of every one of us, when you were pushed out of your mother's womb, and I've added this, and I'm looking for answers to this question for myself. The day that my dad released his seed, and I know that it is as important because I wouldn't be here if that weren't the case. The day my dad released his seed, you think that him and mom were just making love, and they had an epiphany. They should have. They created something. They became the tool for God to enter the earth through the avenue of the soul/spirit to build up, manifest God in the earth. Woo! It Even if a woman was raped, it's still the same thing. God chose that channel. That is just so phenomenal. Well, the whole heavens were at attention at that split moment. And they were energizing that moment for that time, and they imprinted. When you were pushed out of the womb, the heavens were at attention at that moment you were born. They were prophesying, proclaiming over your life. They input themselves in you. Wow. That's why it's important to know that. And to realize if this is true, and it is, I know it is, if this is true, then what Jesus meant when he said, you take up your cross, Jesus was not only referring to my birth time, he was referring to the balance of it, because everything runs on an equinoctial or a solstical moon sun energy. So this is what's important. This is your cross. And of course, I'm doing that because of mine, to show the day that my father planted that seed and the day that my mom kicked me out of the womb, out of the garden. Genesis chapter 2 and chapter 3 is not only the creation of the child in the womb, it's also the delivery of that child to the physical manifest world in Genesis chapter 4, where you have Cain, Abel, Seth, which is the mind, will, and emotions. And that's exactly what those three boys represent, the mind, will, and the emotions, because you have to have those in this dimension, in this world. You know, Genesis 1, 2, and 3, when it's seen in its proper biological and illogical concept, it is the most beautiful passage, and nobody ever made a mistake. Nothing went wrong. It's dumb to think God is all-powerful, knows the beginning from the end, has to make a mistake and create something, and somebody that can make a mistake and upset its plan, upset God's plan. That is the dumbest thing we ever bought.
I know it.
But we bought it, hook, line, and sinker.
Yes,
And because we did that, and because we're just sinful creatures, because we created iniquity, in other words, we got inquisitive in the trail, not like we fooled God. You can think God did not put that inquisitiveness in you to create iniquity, to take a sidestep. God's the one that caused that pretty little bush, or that little animal, or that little flower, or that little tree over there on the side for you to go over there and look at it. You know why? Because he wanted to experience it too. So, the steps of the Lord are ordered. How can you make a mistake? I mean, it's just dumb, some of the stuff that we have bought into and we follow. If God's ordering your steps, he's taking you where you think you shouldn't go. Why? The experience of it. It's a training tool. It's to teach you certain things. Some things you have to experience to learn.
Yes.
Some things you can sit in class and learn.
Yes.
You cannot sit in class and learn everything you can experience, and you can't experience everything you can sit in class and learn.
That's right.
You're going to need both.
Preaching brother.
I mean, dear Lord, you know, oh my, it's the most beautiful story that you'll ever see. So, you know, getting to the basics of these, to me, this is important. This is what it's about. And so, again, I'm learning as much of this as you are, and I appreciate the questions are the questions that we all have. And I'm asking all of you, I'm asking y'all. That's North Georgia, asking y'all. I want to get me right there. My cross was a little on the crooked side. I'm asking you not to get disappointed and discouraged in yourself. Because first off, this is a huge, vast subject.
Yes.
It is huge. And what's happened to me, it's opened up a whole lot more questions. I'm asking you, to me, and Andy and I had discussed, to me, it's the most phenomenal thing I've ever got off on. It's the most phenomenal rabbit trail I've ever been on. And I found out that there's not a page in the Bible that doesn't talk about this rabbit trail.
Yes.
Not anywhere you can go, but this is what it's about. I'll guarantee you. There's a book I've got, and I can't remember the guy's name. I think he's a Lutheran pastor over in Scotland or Ireland. And this is a phenomenal book, and it's about his exegesis of the book of Mark. Just thought about it. I hadn't read it in 20 years. And his exegesis of the book of Mark, where he breaks the book of Mark down into the 12 astrological signs and puts the 12 apostles in the astrological wheel. Seems like his last name is Darren. Seems like it is. And I cannot get the title of the book, but I have the book here somewhere in one of my libraries. I'll dig it out in a little while and see if I can find it. And if y'all have never read it, you might want to get it and read it. It is a tremendous book. Tremendous book. And he's still alive. He's still alive over there. I believe he's in Scotland or England.
Jesus said, take up your cross. Take your cross off that wheel. You first have to see it. Then you take it off that wheel and you begin to apply it. You begin to study it, to come to know it and understand it, to apply it. If you just see it and know it on that wheel, it won't do you any good. This is what we're about with what we're doing here, is to take up our cross off the wheel and bring it into our everyday life. Because that is showing us who we are. And you're going to see your weaknesses, you're going to see your strengths, and we come to know the parts of us that we don't like. I like me in me, but I don't like me when I see me in you. But we have to embrace all that we are, and that will teach us to bring us back to where we started, to a place of balance.
Yeah.
You don't throw anything out. You don't condemn anything about yourself on that wheel. You bring it into balance, to know who and what we are. So we can begin finally to function out from what we really are.
Yes, amen.
And what I'm seeing is, I don't even call the top God and the bottom me anymore. Our God self is, to me, it's like, can I do something?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just troubled.
There you go. Which one, red or black?
Black. I used to look at the wheel like you can do that. This is God and this is me, and He wants to open me up, and He does, but He wants to open me up so that I can come through here. But it's not for me to come up here. This is me. I'm left-handed, so I'm right-handed now. This is me. This is my flesh self. This is my God self. It's all, it's all God. It's all me. And when I come through this, He's coming this way, I'm going that way. When we, so to speak, meet in the middle and we take time out, it sounds like a very arrogant thing to say, but it's the most humbling thing that you will ever see in your life. When you say, it's God, but it's me. I searched for God, and I found God was me.
Yes.
It is not an arrogant thing to say that. When you see the life of it, when you see the reality of it, and when we begin to see it, and we begin to function out from it, this is what this part of me and this part of you is waiting on.
Yes.
And I said this, y'all know me, I've said it 25, 30 years ago. One day, when we really get this, you will stand humbly before any man and declare, when you see me,
You've seen the Father.
you've seen my Father. For my Father and I are one. We are flesh of flesh and bone of bone and spirit of spirit and soul of soul.
Yes.
There is one life.
Yes.
There is one.
That's right.
One.
Amen.
And I know that this age we've entered in, the age of Aquarius, there is a group and we're among you. This is the most humbling thing. I'm part of that group that He's bringing to a place where I can one day say, I don't care what you think about what I'm saying. I'm not saying it to you. I'm saying it to my Father. Because whatever you do, do it to the glory of God. And when you can stand before God and you proclaim before the people, if you've seen me, you've seen my Father. And if you read the story of Jesus, that's the point he came to in the story. He didn't live to men. He didn't minister to men. Jesus never, nothing in the story ever tells us that he came to meet the need of man. He came to meet the need of the Father, that the Father might stretch out and become manifest of who he is in an earthen vessel. This is what we're godlings. We've already been hatched off as godlings. We're growing and learning to come to know, to take who I am off this wheel and bring it into my everyday life, that I'm ever, now I'm not always ever growing and learning, but never, what was the scripture? Always knowing but never coming to the knowledge of the truth of who we are. The middle word in the word truth is you. Hallelujah. Can you see the depth of what Lynn and I have talked about, and we think we were birthing here with just a tiny little brood of us, you know, is to know, to take this wheel seriously, because it's the revelation of all revelations, because it's the revelation of who we are. It's who and what we are and why we're here. To just let God come through our skin like a snake shedding its skin. And God says, here I am, in this form called Annie, in this form called Beverly. Wall to wall, God. It's no more me and God. That's right. There's only one. And it's me, and it's God. And it's God, and it's me. Because there's only one. And us is not a plural anymore. Us is one. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that where we're coming to?
Hallelujah, yes. Hallelujah, that's who I am. Hallelujah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Hallelujah. Let us be. Let it be us. We are all one. Woo. My. Glory. Oh, my. Hallelujah. Thank you. This is the moment that is continuing. This moment is not for now, but forever.
Yes, forever.
Oh, my.
And once you see it, you can't unsee something you've seen. You can't unknow something you know.
The moment of becoming is being.
Yes, exactly.
It never stops. Remove it from time. It just is. Oh, glory, hallelujah. Wow.
In the late 80s, God spoke to me and said, I'm going to take time out for you. And I always thought, ooh, he's going to spend a little time with me, and you know. And I am just now beginning to understand what he meant. He's taking time out. Taking time out so I can see reality and eternity and move into that. Isn't that beautiful?
Amen.
He's taking time out and taking us out of time.
Yeah.
Because you can't be in time and be in spirit at the same time.
Amen. And you know, if y'all haven't read, hopefully maybe you have, it become a phenomenal New York Times bestseller 12, 15 years ago, Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now.
Yes.
Learning to live in the moment. It's just learning to live in the now. The illusion is what's our deception. And I'm sorry to say, but then again, I'm glad to say, because I can say this, and because I see it, Christianity and the church age tried to steal that from us, but we have had an ability to reclaim the stolen goods.
Yes.
And that's exactly what we're doing.
Yes.
And I don't say that in a disrespectful way at all. I'm saying that in a living in the now. Hallelujah.
And if you take the word time, I and me are the last two words in time. Tov is the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. So when I get I and me out of the way, and it comes to an end, so to speak, of the end of the alphabet, and then there's nothing left but spirit, but God, but life, but reality. And I just saw that. I and me is what creates time for me.
That's why we experienced that time, because experiencing it to a point of showing, even though we may have moved out of the time zone, we're looking at the fact that God is still directing the path of us
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
into the fullness of His life within our being,
Yes.
completely.
He doesn't waste a second of
No.
what we call time in preparing us and moving us on. And it's like you can't see the growth of a little child if you're with that little child every day. You don't see the growth and the change
Yes,
taking place.
yes,
That's what's happening to us. We think, well, I don't feel anything.
yes, yes.
It's not in your feelings anyway. The little child will go around and say, I don't feel like I'm growing today.
Yeah.
Duh. It just